So could Allen Lazard be a potential wide receiver #1? I mean, okay, listen, it might end up happening, although I think that would be a bad news situation for the Packers, not a good news situation for the Packers, given the fact that, there's some question marks in their receiving core. But that being said, there are things to like about Lazard, and I certainly think that he has talent. Now, again, how good is he? I think that's a fair question. But let's get into the film and let's talk about kind of what he does well, what the Packers like about him, and kind of what the issues are and why he probably shouldn't be a #1 wide receiver, even though that might be the role he ends up in. So first, let's start off with a play like this. This is kind of a good example of, I think, what he can do well, where it's going to be a zone coverage play. It's quarters coverage, and you see the way his route can work. It could get into a gap kind of, underneath the safeties and cornerbacks, but past the linebackers over the middle of the field. That's how it can work. Right when this play begins, what you're going to notice is that really it's that player right there. That Chicago player is going to be a key part of this play because he's the cornerback who's in charge of covering kind of the deep right-hand corner of the screen, so the deep left-hand corner for the offense. The corner where he's closest to, that's where he's supposed to be covering deep down the field, but he's playing very far in. And in doing that, this could allow for Lazard, who's going to be running into that section, to get open. Rodgers notices this and Lazard notices this. So, Rodgers makes his throw, which is the correct decision, although I will say he did underthrow this one a little bit. He probably could have thrown it a little bit further down the field. And so, because of that, you're in a situation like you are right now where if it's a little bit underthrown, Lazard is going to have to come back to the football and he's going to have to make a decent play. And as you see, that's going to be exactly what Lazard does. He does adjust to the ball well, and he's a big guy. So, and not only is he a big guy, but he can jump up to the ball to get it effectively. So that's definitely something that is, a valuable asset to a guy is, listen, it helps to be taller. Like, that's a definitive advantage. You can't teach heights. So for someone like Allen Lazard, who has the height and can go up and get make a catch, that's something that I can see why the Packers like him. I think something like this is a good example of why the Packers like him, is he can beat man coverage sometimes. Like he's not Davante Adams at it, but there are times when he can just go out and win in one-on-one situations, which is going to be a big question heading into this next season for the Packers. Do they have enough guys who can win against man consistently? We don't know. Davante Adams was that guy, and now he's no longer there. But Lazard can do it. He can do it, and this is going to be a good example of how he can do it. Look at how he's going to use footwork. He kind of starts off as though he's going to the left, and listen, being in the same room with maybe the best route runner in football, Davante Adams, I'm assuming would help everyone else who was also in that room. Probably would have helped Lazard there, but maybe it's just that he's going to make a good move here, but he is going to make a good move here. You see how he's faking as though he's going to the left, but then he cuts over the middle very well, gets wide open, and gets a touchdown. And those short yardage plays, I do think Lazard will be able to have a good impact for the Packers this next season, even without Davante Adams taking away double teams. I think that that's still something he can do. Adams wasn't getting double teamed on that play. He just ran a clear out route. So there definitely are ways that Lazard can do things to be effective for the Green Bay Packers. You also have something like this where Lazard makes some smart decisions. I know Rodgers has often raved about his football IQ, as in Lazard's football IQ, not his own football IQ, in which, I do think you see on tape. I do think that there are some good stuff there, that you will see there, where this play is a good example. It's going to be a cover 2 zone that the Bears are in, but there's one important thing to note here. You see the linebacker, this is almost like a Tampa 2 more so than a traditional cover 2, where you have a linebacker playing very far deep. And because of that, this now means that obviously shallower could be open. And given the situation where the first down is just at the 48-yard line, watch what Lazard, who's lined up in the slot right there to the right, watch what he's going to do and watch what Rodgers is going to do. They both immediately just, know what the situation is. Lazard immediately turns around, Rodgers immediately throws it, and they pick up, and ended up being a good gain. He did a good job after the catch there. So I think that's another thing they like about Lazard, is he does have chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. So that definitely is a good thing, and, is a valuable asset and someone you do want to keep in the building. Again, is he a wide receiver 1? No, he's not. And something like this is kind of the perfect example of why he's not, is what's going to happen here. It's a one-on-one matchup, and really, he just doesn't win these one-on-one matchups on the outside consistently. He rarely does win these at all, quite frankly. Look, as you see, I mean, he's not going to get any separation. Rodgers puts the ball in a good spot, but Lazard can't make the grab. And that's kind of the exact thing where you want a guy who can get separation more consistently. And that's a totally valid and fair criticism of Allen Lazard. He does not get consistent separation. He doesn't. He gets separation, but not as consistently, and really it's typically is over the middle, not on the outside. So in conclusion here, there's stuff to like about Allen Lazard. He's a solid wide receiver, and I think that when you add on kind of his chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, you feel a lot better about it. And there's a lot of kind of question marks with the Green Bay Packers receiving core right now. You have Sammy Watkins. Maybe he'll, be really good, probably be great week 1, but how, consistent will he be? Because he hasn't been consistent these past few years and hasn't stayed on the field these past few years. You have Randall Cobb, who, again, does some nice things, but how many snaps are we going to get out of him? You obviously drafted Christian Watson. Well, it's probably a good thing to have kind of one constant that is just going to be like a solid contributor. Pro Football Focus rated him as the 80th best receiver in football last year, out of 115 total guys. So you figure 80th, what? That means that you're not a number 1 or number 2, but a solid number 3. So I guess maybe that's, probably fair to where Lazard is at. You don't want him to be a wide receiver 1. You just don't. He can't win consistently enough for him to be a wide receiver number 1. He's someone who is going to bring you some nice things, but in an ideal scenario, you're using him because, hey, here's this nice thing that happened to present itself for Allen Lazard, not we need Allen Lazard to come through here and make a play on this play, which, I'm sure the Packers are hoping will not be the case. I'm sure they were hoping that Christian Watson or Sammy Watkins could, come through and kind of really live up to their potential, which, Watkins has shown flashes of and Watson has shown flashes of. But that's kind of my main thought about Allen Lazard. Again, does some nice things. Also, great blocker. Didn't show too much of his blocking in this video, but definitely one of the best blocking wide receivers in football. But again, he's a wide receiver, not a tight end. So that's kind of what I think about Allen Lazard. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on Allen Lazard? Do you agree that he is someone who, like I think, is a solid contributor and kind of works well with Rodgers, so that's a big benefit, but maybe there's, maybe not someone you want to have to rely on third downs? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.